Welcome to the Eagle Talk Show Uncut, where conversations soar above the ordinary. Hosted by Mengistu Akoi, aka the Black Eagle, and the insightful Wilfred Duosi. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to ku-wor TV. Thank you again for tuning into the Eagle Talk Show Uncut, and it starts now.
Well, folks, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this show. This is the ku-wor talk show on ku-wor TV. And I'd like to say welcome to it. My name is Wilfred Duosi. Today we are opportune to have with us the Secretary General elect and also former Assistant Secretary General of the President of Liberia. And our topic or our discussion for today going to focus on the Liberian media. What are some of the challenges, the progress, and how media workers can go about improving or working with national government to improve infrastructure development and peace and stability. So again, this is ku-wor TV. Please like, share, and comment on our platform. So Mr. Akoi Baysah has been the Liberian journalist for over 25 years. And of course, Mr. Baysah, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. A pleasure.
So it has been a while. How is the Liberian media?
Well, we are grateful that we are on it. We are alive and trying to improve the landscape of the media. Things are gradual. Rome wasn't built in one day, but gradually we are definitely going to get there.
You serve as Assistant Secretary General of the President of Liberia during Mr. Charles Coffey leadership. How was it? How was the leadership? What are some of the progress and the challenges you have faced that today, since the day you are elected as Secretary General? What are some of the challenges or advantages you think you can work on to improve the Liberian media?
We did what we could. At the time, we were Assistant Secretary, which of course resulted to us being elected as Secretary General. The media is challenged, and those challenges are enormous, and we are definitely, serious the challenge, and those things can be worked on and achieved gradually with the spirit of oneness. If we are together, we are going to achieve in ensuring that the media is being brought together, united, and these challenges can gradually be overcome as long as we see it possible. So, I having traveled extensively across the 15 counties in Liberia, and there's a huge challenge in the media area, the gathering of content, and economical attachment to media houses, constraint that they face, the reporters on the field, the challenges they face in gathering this information that is being published or air on the various platforms. They have huge challenges. And how do they get paid? They are taking their incentives. These are things knowing fully well that government is the highest advertising body in the country. So if government doesn't do business with you, how do you survive? So there are huge challenges, and there are other ways that we think we can all work together to have some leverage of media houses benefiting whether or not government advertise or do business with them. So we think we have a huge responsibility as a body, from the standpoint of the leadership, going down to owners of our institutions. That is, before you can establish an institution, definitely you must have had, certain qualification that should also align with the president of Liberia or a method of having you as an institution. With that, I think we can have a safer media environment and a longer stay of institution that will not just come because of political achievement or political purpose, and then after which it's been achieved, then you go But when institutions have been established and passing through the union, having some level of credibility and certifying them, going to the information ministry and get certified, then with that, we will have certain leverage and certain area of control definitely over them. If our content, the messages they carry, the usage of words that they do, there are a lot of things that we need to do.
Do you have the print media and that of the electronic media? Have you seen progress since you got involved into this profession? Have you seen any progress? Have you seen any achievement, great achievement? Have you seen some media institution reporting on negative information that are going to affect the development drive of the country?
There are some level of achievement in the media going back in the days where newspaper prints were difficult. As we are arriving gradually at a contemporary stage of the world, things have changed and it's changing gradually. So it is easier now to print a newspaper than it was in the past. It is easier now to share information than it was in the past. In the past, there wasn't a platform called social media. Today, there is a platform called social media, which is the new media. The new media has come into being. The new media now is also a challenge to the traditional media. So newspapers, prints are all online. Before it wasn't. So they are online. You can read a newspaper now online, and you can, do a read out if you have a comment to make on their stories and things published. So it is getting better. So the better it becomes, sometimes the challenges grows to a certain level. But I believe that the issue of oneness, I keep saying this, and with all of us coming together at all times, preferring what we want to see, where we want to be, I think we can achieve a greater thing in the media. The media is a watchdog. And one of the questions that will run your mind is who watches the watchdog? So who watches the watchdog is what we call ethics. It's ethics that watch the watchdog. So many of us these days are negating that we have ethics and are involving ourselves into blackmailing people because we want to, have what we want for ourselves. So I believe that the media is challenged, but to a certain level we are achieved. And we are achieving gradually. But when we are together, definitely, we can all mend the wounds, ensure that differences are being handled. We can move on to have a better space in Liberia, to have that voice that will be recognized, to have a say in the division of the cake. The union and the media body, we are very pivotal to the growth of every development. So one of those things that we have to have at the back of our mind is that whatever message that we put out, they have denotative and connotative meanings. They have positive and negative meanings. So there are times that we are responsible as a journalist. Information that will hamper our growth and development, we must be cognizant of that sometimes and share some other information. Instead of just putting out all sometimes not negative, but we portray to be negative. It hampers the economy of the country. Once the country economy is being hampered, then obviously you as a media individual be hampered as well. Not we are there for the public trust, right? What is there for the public trust? What is there for the public? Give it to the public. What is needed for the public? Give it to the public. Do not, exacerbate what.
Do you think some media institutions have been biased in the reportage?
Obviously, there are media institutions that will not need that have been biased in the reportage. It is only one way that I report, at which we've had many complaints when our assistant secretary from other institutions, from individuals.
What the union can do in this case? There are some, like you said, some media institutions have been reporting biased information in there have been complaints. What the union can do in this case? Can they stop these journalists from practicing, or what can they do?
So that's why we have a committee that spearhead the issue of complaints coming from the public, a complaint coming from prominent individuals that have been affected by a reportage. So we had a National Media Council. The National Media Council consists of civil society organizations, women groups, consists of the law group, and people from outside of the media and within the media that will visit these complaints that arise from the public or individual against an individual of the journalist, a journalist, or against a media house. They will now look at the complaints, look at the stories that were published or air against that individual, and then investigate. These are people who have no interest in anybody. They investigate, they come out with a ruling. If you are in error as a media individual or an institution, they tell you, please do a reporter to this individual character you are maligning within a set day. So there are lots of things that have been done here through the National Media Council. National Media Council has been coordinating all of these things to ensure that people have been reprimanded for what you publish, what you say, what you do, or say against somebody of prominence in the country.
Are you afraid to name some of the institutions? Probably
None of my
they
friends,
can hear their names and then put themselves in the rightful position.
no, I'm not afraid. But we have had cases. It's just like the issue of the voice of Liberia when they filed a complaint against the foreign ministry and they destroyed our camera and other equipment, right? The complaint was filed. We distracted people from the foreign ministry. They came here. We adjudicated a matter through the National Media Council, and they were found guilty, right? So they restored the phone and other material that was damaged from fuel to them. They paid it. So there was an instance during my time as assistant secretary where Phone Page Africa published a story about the court. And it was not based on facts, but instead, not based on fact that investigated, but it was just based on information gathered. They were told by the National Media Council to do a rebuttal. So there are instances. So we've been doing that to ensure that the media is being brought to a place where there is a peer review process where you air, I tell you definitely you have air, and this what you should do and do this. I think when we get to that level, now you can look at me publishing a story and having in a court, you have aired. Ethically, this should not be this, it should not be this, do this. That's what the National Media Council is there for. So we've been doing those things. And I believe we can do better if we continue to update contemporary senses to the process. And all of us can work together. And as we get aging, change. And as they change, we must be able to adapt to them and work with them.
Now, the public will say some media institution get money, like somebody will say Kato, to publish some about this story. What are your thoughts on journalists receiving money from government if they're supposed to be independent? Do you think that is necessary?
Receiving money from government doesn't mean you're not independent. And government is the largest advertising body in the Republic as I speak right now. So probably government owes a lot of media institutions right now in terms of advertisement, announcement, their programs, So I receive money from government to do a piece of job, to advertise that announcement, to advertise something, a job, opportunity, every other thing. So the aspect that affects out of all of us is the unethical practice, right? So doing business with you, it doesn't mean that I should not be for the public. I should forgo the public trust.
Somebody will say people or some journalists receive money and they do not write or report the dangers the government is causing to the Liberian people. So they must see as being
So
biased and they should
probably
stop receiving money from government.
that is not to my knowledge that people are receiving money from government and they are refusing to do story against government. So there are public relation officers and there are journalists. Public relation officers work for government institutions and private institutions to promote the goods and services of the institution. So a journalist is there for the public trust. So when days of practiced actively as a journalist, I reported what happened and what was needed and what not making all any story, but balancing all sides. If there were allegations, I ensured that I have the ABC into the process. Accurate, balance, and current, and just that's it, right? To ensure that it has been published or broadcast. So I believe that we are guided by ethics, and the ethics is to ensure that we do not do a one-sided story without getting the other side. We should be balanced.
Is it necessary for journalists to take money from a politician, receive money for a politician to have a conversation, to interview them? Do you think it is necessary?
So, like I said, we have media institutions that survive from the sales of airtime. We have media institutions that survive from the sales of spaces in the newspaper for advertisement, for government, for an institution own promotion. So why hold somebody who has charged a person to go and sit on a radio and pay for the airtime and talk about himself? A business. The media itself is a business, but we are relying on the public trust and the public good. That's ethics that guiding us. So, but it's not an issue to have a person to come appear on my radio and pay for that airtime and talk about that institution, promote the institution.
What happens if you invited them and they do not give you a dime? Do you think that should be a problem?
The survivability of the media rely on advertisement.
I'm asking, I invite Akoi as a politician, probably from other party or from different party.
In that
I
instance,
invited him, but after the interview, I did not, or Akoi did not give me money, so it means that I should not carry.
That journalism. In that instance, I've been the one that have been doubting. I want the information from you. I call you, I invited you to come because I believe there is a doubt on certain information and you are close with that authority to come and clear the doubt or give the necessary information. So I invited you to my show to come and clear the doubt because in journalism, the journalists are there to inform, educate, and entertain the public. So on the information aspect, you have to be accurate in giving the information. I'm not an expert. So I will call an expert to come and give me the necessary information that is needed to the public.
But do you think it is compulsory that that politician give money?
It is not necessary for a person to give you money in that instant. But if you called me that I come in and want to appear, you want to say, things happen at the institution, I want to sell your organization, you pay for the airtime. It's up to you. So the media is a business, but yet we are caught with the authority to be guided by ethics and in guiding ourselves with ethics to give what is needed to the public through the public trust. We have to have the public trust. If we don't have the public trust, we don't have people listening or reading your newspaper or listening to your radio.
Are you aware of the 1975 NSA Act that government, the executive, is close with the authority to control communication? Are you aware of that?
So we have had lots of engagement with government. One, during the former President Ellen Johnson study, the decriminalization of free speech was enacted. the table money declaration. You will not be held liable as a journalist for what you say as a criminal matter on the radio or write as a journalist. It will decriminalized. So journalist issue are not criminal issue, but instead they are civil issue. So previously in time past, people were being checked, picked up, and considered as criminal for doing a journalistic work. But it has been decriminalized. So government does not have the right now to arrest criminally any journalist, to incriminate them because of a reportage. Because the free speech was decriminalized. That's why today he said the Press Freedom Bureau, we are there to advocate for human rights, the freedom of expression, and the free speech. Sometimes people who are not even journalists, we advocate for them because of the freedom of expression. And today we have the freedom of information law that have been passed. Today we have the KK law of information. So these instruments can be used against what you just said. Nobody, anywhere, journalists, even advocates should be held liable or criminally held liable for their expression by any government or government official.
You talk about the KK Act. How effective is it, and how well journalists are following the laws that are in the KK Act to ensure that they are professional and they report what they see?
The acceptance of these things are a bit difficult because we are in a terrain or a country where it takes time people that are said, understand, and operate within a scope. So we've had issues in the past. The journalists demonstrated, they protested for their rights. They felt they were being disenfranchised, brutalized by previous government that was doing the former president George Weah time. And we protested in a pure march against brutalities and we see something that disenfranchised the media community or rampant. So there are protests, petition the government to ensure that those perpetrators be investigated and brought to book or not.
Did you get any further information?
So up to date, the government has done nothing, and government is continuing it. So I believe.
So what about your core? Yes, so government is continuing with
government is continuity. So I believe that this government that has just come to power must be held liable for what happened in the past to ensure that what happened to those of our journalists that were flogged, that were beaten, that were brutalized, that were harassed by state security actors be investigated and brought to book and penalized. Not just investigated, but be penalized because they sound up to what they said decriminalizing free speech, the freedom of gathering. So these are things that we are going to perform as soon as we rejuvenate ourselves to ensure that we get ongoing as a body.
What the press union now can do to ensure that a fair media is produced, that the Liberian media or the Liberian people have a media where they can trust, where there will be no biased information. How well you, your boss, and others, how well you guys are doing to ensure that
the Liberian people believe in the media. The media is a source of information. Be it the new media or the traditional media, they believe in the media as their source or sources of information. So all we need to do is to continue our work that we've been doing, remain ethical, though in every sector or every profession, there are some unscrupulous people, there are some individuals who are unethical in every sector, in the lawyering, in the criminal justice system, in the accounting system, every field of study, you have people who are unethical. So we are not going to be pushing those who are going to be on the contrary, but the aspect of naming and shaming those individuals who are seen in the media, ethically transgressing, I think will help to have their own track
Okay.
to put forth, you know, ethical broadcasts, ethical ratings, and ethical workings.
All right, so folks, you're listening to it. This is the Ego Talk Show, and we are here with Mr. Akoi Baysah Jr. He's the Secretary General elect of the President of Liberia. You're also the former Assistant Secretary General of the President of Liberia. Today, we are here talking about the Liberian media. How can they improve? What are those challenges and advantage they have or the period of time that they can improve on. So again, I like to say keep following this, like, share, and follow our platform. So I'm also concerned about journalists. Yes, sometimes you hear in a Western nation, you hear media platforms pledging their support to specific political parties or individuals. Do you think that is necessary in our democracy, in our country, that the media that the people trust, believe they can share information, should pledge their support to a specific political party? Do you think that should happen?
That system of journalism hasn't been fully introduced or accepted in Liberia, and institutions or individuals who are involved with that, I think they are not journalists. And because the journalists will have the public trust, and once you lose the public trust, it means you have Osar. So having Osar, it means that you cannot propagate any information that is accurate, something that should be trusted. So we believe it has not been accepted in Liberia, and those who are being involved with it, I don't consider journalists and still political commentators of people that will have different nomenclature by the public.
Okay. So, do you think neutrality should come in national security?
I
Should there be neutrality in national security development?
No matter how people will portray you, sometimes for some of the questions that you will ask as a journalist, sometimes people categorize you because you invited party X and you ask party X series of questions. So they believe that you are asking these questions in favor of another person. But all I can tell you or us as journalists is to do your work without fear and favor, remain ethical, and just do what is right for the trust of the public.
What is the role journalists should play in building national security, peace, and stability?
Journalists, first thing that will ensure that they have a civil institution, a civil country. They should not be exacting. They should give information that is right, right information, not information based on assumption or falsehood, based on malign somebody character to ensure that the government has been, or an individual has been maligned because of certain motive. We should be balanced. That was the ABC. Should be accurate, balanced, and current, and just correct in everything that we do. So our broadcasts, our writings should reflect on what we do as an individual. That's why I'm very careful what I write on my social media platform as a journalist. If anything I put on my social media platform, it has reflection on me as a journalist. People consider me as the top notch. Any information coming from my page is considered 100%.
It's correct.
So once you are a journalist, whether you are on the radio, you're ready for a newspaper, even on your page, or social media platform, you should be very careful. Everything that you put there, it should be something as a background of a journalistic practice should be correct.
So another issue here is you as a Secretary General. What are three innovative and progressive practices or acts you are seeing happening now and going to happen under your leadership, including your boss?
So, like we said, the union needs to arrive. One of the major things that you can do now is to house yourself. If you're not housed, it's a problem. If you cannot find a place to lot, it becomes difficult for you to think. So it's to ensure that we are housed. Secondly, to digitalize the membership of the union. And thirdly, to incentivize the membership to pay their dues, to be able to have some incentives for them in terms of insurance, in terms of looking after them, the advocacy, reaching out to them. Is when you put your money there, your more is. So if all these things are done, definitely I want to you, we will arrive as an institution. The housing, the teacher last members incentivize to pay their dues and encourage, we are going to get there.
We always have you on our platform. This platform is for every Liberian. Don't be shy, don't be afraid. This platform is for every Liberian, every African. We need to unite and we need to build our society. And especially the watchdog that watch us every day, you and I, we have to hear from them. We have to know where are they, how are they coping, and how can the public trust them in terms of information dissemination. So again, so welcome.
Thank you.
So I was asking, how can the media be paid? Who's responsible to pay the media?
The journalists are paid for by the media houses that they work for. And those media houses generate funds for advertisement that they get from the public, government institutions, and the private institutions. So there should be a benchmark. Like I said, economically, the media is challenged because government is the only and the biggest advertiser. So they are responsible to ensure that the media to a certain level is being improved economically. So they are also responsible to create the avenue, necessary avenue to have what you call the environment, to have investors that will come and do business with the media. So like in other countries, there are laws that are on book that every institution that come in your country, they are taxed to do a certain percentage of business with the media, compulsory, unlike Liberia. So, like Enterprise, in our leadership, we have tried as best as possible to have the media regulated. When the media is regulated, it sends out that signal that will assure credibility and integrity to the community, and we want people to run to the media and do business. What we did or started doing was to work on a bill they call the Independent Media Commission.
So the where I was coming from, because when you talk about media regulation, I was like, wow, how can this happen? You have the Liberia National Bar Association, you have the nursery lesson. How can media practitioners be regulated when it comes to their ethics, when it comes to their job?
So the Independent Media Council, as per our mind, that we have gone far into it already in previous leadership. We've had a structure of probably 7 or 9 commissioners, majority of whom will be from the media backgrounds, from the lawyering background, from the civil society, the women group, the religious. And these are people that will be following up, regulating not just an individual, ethical transgressions, accrediting media houses in institutions, and to ensure that the right thing is being done. When the right thing is being done, it flesh out integrity. When integrity is been out there, it shows the best to come out of a nation of a house. So with the establishment of the Independent Media Commission, they will not just follow registration or entry of media institution, but they will ethically for the people who are transgressing, call you, give reason why. And the issue of accreditations can come about, lessening, journalists can come about. If you are lessing and then you ethically transgress, the consequences will be written and spelled out. That this is the consequence and this should be this. And they will come up with their own set rules along with the union. They'll be working along with the union to ensure that journalists act properly in the dissemination of information or in the discharge of their duties.
People continue to say government, yes, the executive had the power from the 1974, 1975 NSA that the executive controlled communication in the country, but the government had so many propaganda those that propagate their information, those institutions, especially the Ministry of Information, the Liberia Broadcasting System, and then you have um, the executive mansion, press, and bureau team. Well, they are concerned that it has not been fair for the Liberian media. The government should not have information ministry. The government should not, LBS should be run as a public institution instead of government propagating their information using
Yeah. So this is one of the areas that we are working on, the Liberia broadcasting system. From our standpoint as an institution, especially from the president, we worked previously on documents to ensure that we turn the Liberia broadcasting system as a public broadcaster. That the government will have no fish, the Liberian will say to fry in it. That will have its board of incorporators that will be able to do the vetting free of political affiliation. Government comes, government go, they do their work on their own, and they serve everyone. So raising, I think that is prudent. In time past, people have used the institution as the government messaging house. Now, anything on the contrary from government is not being public broadcast at that place. So we say you have to give every Liberian the right, whether in position, opposition, or no position, must be given a voice, be given a platform to speak their mind against government or for government. So that is in route. The turning of the Liberia broadcasting system into a public broadcaster is also one of the instruments that we've been working on. And I know gradually we're going to get there to ensure that the space is being given to a non-partisan of a ruling party, a non-partisan of a government in power, a non-partisan, right, of a political party, civil society, and politicians. They have the right to go and say things that could checkmate the government. More like people have expressed some level of disappointment that they've been denied the opportunity and the privileges to express their view, especially on a station where taxpayer money is being used to pay people.
What have been the union's stance against these things?
That's why there are documents we've been working on to ensure that LPS turn to a public broadcaster. That no one will be limited from saying what they want to say as long as it is information, whether for or not of the government. They should be able to express. That's the freedom of expression council.
Do you think that's going to be achieved?
They're going to be achieved.
How soon?
It takes time. Change is gradual process. It's not even. We're going to come there gradually.
But do you think the
gradually, if today
the
we
legislature going to
gradually, if today we can decriminalize free speech, right? We can have the KAK, law, being acted today, right? It means that we can do more gradually. It's just about the engagement. So I will tell you today, 10 years from now, we're going to be having this as a history. That we'll be saying, we started this, and this was said, that today, the Liberian broadcasting system has been into the public broadcaster.
I have been told that these independent media commission that you talk about to regulate media practitioners, it is before the legislature. How true is this?
We started some level of engagement in previous administration with some highs up in the Senate, in the House of Representatives that were close to the chairmanship on communication and information at the both houses. And they were very, interested in this information because they chair, co-chair, or member on communication information. They wanted these things to emanate from them. And some of them had a draft and they were trying to even put it on the floor prior to even going to elections to tell you how interesting is it. So we're going to get there gradually. It's about engaging gradually. Positively, we're going to get there. These things are not done by fighting, but we are people cognizant with the, to people having a knowledge of not just fighting, not being put up, but using your lobbyists' power and skill and those necessary individuals who are capable of making to achieve what you want to achieve that everybody in the country can benefit from. We should have freedom of expression, freedom of speech. It should be protected. We don't just protect journalists on the aspect of freedom of expression, but librarians who will just come on and say things as long as they have the right to freedom of expression, they must be protected under the freedom of information law.
Okay. Now, librarians are also concerned about this issue of media practitioners, right? And they want to know how many trainings, how often media workers are trained when it comes to their work,
There have been lots of trainings.
especially working with other partners.
Refresher trainings has been held. We have other media development institutions that are also providing trainings in several ways. Now, the new trend of our training aspect now, because of misinformation and disinformation, how to counter them, how to fast check. And those were things that were in existence before as a journalist. That's why we had the ABC, the ethic that got us. Before you publish or broadcast an information, it must be fully balanced, accurate, and balanced. To have all sides. To ensure that if somebody is accused, you should have the side of the other person who is accused before you can publish or broadcast. So it has come in another form, a fast check, misinformation and disinformation, and malinformation. So there are a lot of trainings that have been ongoing, especially from our time past up to present. It's still ongoing. For RX days after the war, we have other institutions that came alert, international came, and they did a lot of things that are training in institutions, individuals, RS came, that are train, empower. So now we also look at the issue of empowering and capacity building. Empowered, capacitated, and empowered. That is, you build the capacity and you empower the capacity that you have built to utilize a capacity. So if you don't build capacity and lead the capacity and you have built along the way, what do you expect to go? You expect the same thing to come back. We have an issue of attrition into the media. People have seen the media area has not been a place of making money. So if you've reached a certain level in the media, you go into PRs or you do something else that will give you money. So people becoming professional at a certain level and leaving the media, it creates the vacuum or lacking professionals. That's attrition. So that's why we continue to train people so that even if there are people who have reached a certain level, they are left, there are people to fill in the gap. So training is very key, very pertinent, and pivotal. But we must continue to do to ensure that people become enlightened to the contemporary workings of the media in our current dispensation.
Where are we now? We're still on the issue of this training. You have some journalists who are assigned at the Supreme Court, some of those who are assigned at the legislature executive. People might say journalists who are assigned at these places must have specific education
You're right.
before the
So
BSM, because sometimes some of those who go there, they do not understand the terminology, the jargons that are used at the court, at the executive, at the legislature. So people who report to these places must be professional, must be trained, must be educated in these areas.
that is specialized journalism. I probably might have come from the lawyering background before you put it for the court, or you might have been nurture or tutor how to report for the court. I was not a lawyer, a reporter for the court. A journalist, I smart set of people, do research, read aloud, ask the expert. You are not an expert. Ask the experts. They give you the necessary information. You do your stories. All of the times that I reported from the judiciary, from the Temple of Justice, I didn't have a day that I was called by a judge for contempt on a story that I did. So there were trainings held. We were refreshed in various areas on where the issue of court process starts. And when you know that, and the number of times you stay there, you're going to burst with these things to your fingertip. So the more you are assigned to a place for a longer time, you become more knowledgeable, more fluent in the jargons, what to do, what not to do, what to say at a particular point, what to write, and what not to do. So I think all of these various places, there are refresher training being done, and it's still continuing to embrace members with the jargons that should be used at the legislature, and the jargon that should be used at the Temple of Justice in terms of reporting, on judicial matters, and at the level of the executive mansion, what should be used, the jargons. So it is very much prudent. Everyone, you don't have to be a lawyer before you report lawyer issue, but it's about research and contacting the expert.
People will say you might have or you must have education in law, at least
You are a
so
journalist.
as to
You are a journalist.
understand the jargons and
You are a journalist, right? So automatically, before you might have come to this interview, you did your research. You have your talking points. All the talking points are back. You mentioning NSA, taking away information, the government, this and that. You did your research. So journalists are very crafty and smart people. So before you get out of the judiciary, you're definitely going to know who the judicial reporter should be, how a legislative reporter should comport himself. What are those things that you do? You will be the person to have all these things at the back of your mind. So when you get there, and the number of time you spend there and contacting these experts to help you back your story that you're writing, it helps you to make you a good journalist.
To this one, Liberians keep saying the Liberian media is fully controlled by politicians. What is your statistics of those who control the media? Do we have a huge number of independent media as compared to politicians owning media entities in Liberia?
There are independent media, and they are also, due to the proliferation of media institutions. We have proliferation of media institutions, and the ownership of majority are politicians. And there are independent journalists that work for some of these institutions. And there are also independent journalists that work for other institutions that are run by business people. That are keeping the torch alive to a good journalism, to an ethical journalism. But because of the proliferation of the media that have grown to a level to political ownership, it has made many media institutions to look the way of their political godfather instead of looking the way of the public trust. Those are some of the challenges. So once the Independent Media Commission is been established, these are things that we're going to be looking at. Before you establish a media institution, there are things that they're going to be telling you. There are people who have had establishment institutions just for a period of a year. When election is coming, after election, you see them no more. When they achieved, the the purpose of which they are established, they continue, but not to that level. When they lose, they drop. When election come in, they read from that institution and propagate that information. So we're going to be dealing with these things.
Where are we with the current leadership? Where are we? How far? How can media practitioners now start to say, hey, we have the UN back, and because I learned there were some crashes and they have been resolved. So how far are we?
I think we're getting on course and gradually we'll get on course. We're getting on course and gradually we'll get on course when there are some level of, I can say, reaching out, reconciling the differences, reuniting, you know, journalists across the country. I think we're going to have a greater achievement.
Let's talk about journalists in the counties, in the various counties. How have you seen their work as compared to those in the nation's capital?
Journalists in the country are not, I like journalists from most of the country. Every country has journalists. So whether you are in a far to rich area, you are a journalist, you are a professional journalist. Your work is speaking for you. You are making a difference in that part of the country. So it's probably just about everyone cannot come into the capital of the country, but you can be in Tottenham, you can be in Bopuru. Your work that you're doing there is making greater impact on the country there and the country at large. When the country is affected from what you do, the country becomes affected also and benefit from it. So every journalist in every part of the country is at the same as journalists who report from most of our country and most of Monrovia.
Okay. So, folks, that's it. We will close on this question. And I think it is interesting. It is important that you know some of the key roles that the media play when it comes to national development, especially peace and stability. Mr. Akoi, you are the Secretary General. What are some of the plans? What are some of the plans or work institution workers or journalists have a collective bargaining as a union that can improve the career field of this profession?
So the collective bargaining agreement was agreed upon before years by Ikemo, Grand Kemo County by media owners. And we are also contemplating of ensuring that we have a shift in the paradigm of our own constitution as a union. Since its establishment and its rating, we have not had an amendment, and we are into a contemporary world now. So we want to amend this and look at the collective bargaining agreement as well. That will reflect on the present day reality and the contemporary situation that we are faced with in the dispensation we are.
Okay.
So collective bargaining agreement has to do with the take home, the wishes of journalists, and that's very pivotal and key to the survivability of the media. If a journalist is ill treated, you will not have the necessary outcome of what he or she does. So we believe they are very cardinal to us, and they are key that these are things that we will be running with, and it can only be achieved when we have lots of engagements with these media owners and actors.
Are there specific salaries or wages journalists should receive?
So I can remember a portion in the collective bargaining agreement that says the least person should take home 150.
150.
The least person. But as I speak right now, there are journalists who may far below even the minimum wage bill of the country, of decent work bill. People may far below. I can remember way down the line, I worked for $4,900 some more dollars. Far below as a professional person. Not because I pass through it, now I should allow people to pass through it. We must be able to effectuate change that can make the difference of us being standing tall as a media institution or individual or journalist to do those things that are needed, that we will have the public trust and continue to have the public trust.
What can you say finally before we conclude this conversation?
I thank you first for giving me the opportunity for express all of these words and saying that could help to shift our landscape in the thoughts in the minds of our people. That the public trust is the media, and the media should work for the public trust. We mean the media, and nobody asks more than the media. We depict the difference in the country, and as such, we should be very careful of what we put out on our favorite media platform. We should follow the ABC and the ethics of what we do as a journalist and live as a journalist, talk as a journalist, whether in your newsroom or outside the newsroom, you are a journalist. Anything you say out there reflects the profession. Anything you do out there reflects the profession. But people expect you to set the agenda. When you're a agenda setter, it's able to make a difference also in the public in terms of your thinking and analysis. So I want to say thank you that the media remains the public trust. Let us all ensure that our country that will also dearly will do things that will ensure that we can transcend from one level to another for all of us to benefit from the cake that we have. And our children can come and become a benefactor from where we are today and what we started with.
He's Akoi Baysah, the Secretary General elect of the President of Liberia, folks. I'd like to say thank you for following the Eagle Talk Show. My name is Wilfred Duosi. Please like, share, and follow our page. Again, we've been talking about the Liberian media as a whole from different sector, different angles, how we can improve and how we can report to ensure that the public believe in the media, especially the Liberian media, for sustainable growth and development and maintaining peace. Again, I'd like to say thank you for watching and following. This is your number one TV station.